this is the big one. They are reworking the focus tree for Germany and Hearts of Iron 4 for the next expansion, Götterdämmerung, which is the DLC which comes out on the 14th of November. Please excuse my voice, not feeling very well. So get your comments out of the way. What's wrong with your voice, Dave? How come you don't sound too excited? I'm very excited, but I'm not projecting it with my voice a minute because it's a bit croggy. Anyway, here we go. So, just heads up, my dev diaries a bit differently. I'll be looking at the screenshots. I'll be deciphering what I think they might mean, and I'll be very quickly paraphrasing some of the paragraphs. Truth is, I might get it completely wrong, but this is how I prefer to do dev diaries. Speed run them, make guesses, make presumptions, say how I would like them, and then come to some conclusion at the end. The chances I may get a lot of things wrong, but I can imagine you guys in the comments will shout and scream at me, telling me how I could do a better job, which I'm okay with. Be mean. Anyway, first of all, we have a new Mr. H portrait. Look at him. Oh my goodness. Look at that face. He's got face smoothing. He's all ready for the TikTok generation. And now let's have a make out what these could be. So we have the bitter loser, which means they're ideologically entrenched. Then we have the MIFO bills, paying for rearming. Then we have some kind of issue with the army, or a bonus for the army, navy, and then I presume Air Force. I like this. There's sometimes an urge with some of these icons to make them overly complex. And I don't think there's any need. I think just keep it nice and simple. Let the player know at a very quick glance what this represents. I think when you've got icons like, for instance, these ones, which are a little more busy, which are legacy, by the way, because these are already in the game at the moment. There's nothing wrong with them. I like the detail, but sometimes you have to get really close to actually see what they are. So how many of you guys have zoomed in to see that that says MIFO on the bills, the pieces of paper? I'll be honest with you, I was playing for many years before I realized that was the case. I thought it was just a bunch of random letters. It's a bit like in Victoria 3, you know the icon for groceries? People thought it was a bagel or a sausage. Now I think about it, I can't remember which one it actually is. Point being, some of these icons, if they're more complex, don't scale very well with resolution. So I think that sometimes going for a more simple icon that can work very small or very large, depending on the resolution, I think gets the job done better. Oh, I found it. This is it. So at first glance, when I first saw this, I thought this was a bagel. It turns out it's actually a sausage. How can you get a bagel mixed up with a sausage? Well, I did, okay? In short, sometimes complexity doesn't work well when you scale it. Anyway, moving on. Oh, here we go. So we have a bit of loser, which just makes them ideologically entrenched and create factions, which a lot of nations in 24 can't create factions from the very start of the game. Then we have MIFO bills, but it looks like it has been reworked. MIFO bills reduce consumer goods by 5%, and then it gives lots of buffs to military, such as construction speed. 20% used to be the normal number, now it's 10%. Maybe this can be increased by, I don't know, some kind of national focuses, but also top it off as well. Your consumer goods factor will increase by 3% each month up to 100%. The monthly increase will be higher based on the amount of non-core states. Ah, this is so good. There was no incentive to get off MIFO bills. Sure, it ate a little bit into your political power, but in the olden days, you'd just be like, well, MIFO bills give good bonuses. They eat a little bit of political power, but at the end of the day, they're worth it in the long run, so I'll just stick on it forever. So now there's an incentive to get off MIFO bills. Presuming when you go to war, you probably can still get MIFO bills, I'm presuming, but then you get to stack the penalties. And in this case, you will get more consumer goods factor increase based on having non-core territory that you own. So there will be a certain point where you have to say, I can't do any more MIFO bills. Deutsches Herr, which gives organization planning speed but less supply efficiency. Ooh. Which I presume means each supply depot will give less supply overall. This was added very recently, and it's not just a flat increase or decrease to supply, it's the way that supply hubs give supply. Kriegsmarine bonus when using only capital ships. There's a little funky thing where you can do where you can put capital ships only as a fleet with no screens, and they will still kind of survive. Every time I've done it, it's not been very effective though. And plus also the Luftwaffe has a penalty. This is pretty standard Hoi 4 this. You start off with broken things and you have to fix them. Aside from the army, which for the most part gives good bonuses. However, Germany straight up isn't behind. It also has some bonuses mixed in, pluses and minuses. Alright, here is the focus tree. Oh my goodness. So, the political branch is obviously this right side. Then we have more military stuff, maybe industry in the center. This is the classic formulas: political on the right, military in the center, and then army, navy, and air force. Yeah, that's definitely what it is, because you can actually see the navy stuff here. And then we also have this element, the inner circle. The rulers of the end party, we'll say that, have the say in who is the leader of Germany. And I presume if you want a N party that goes in a different direction, you can modify the inner circle to replace Mr. H. And here we are. Here's a closer up of the inner circle. So here are all the N-word boys. I'm actually excited to see if Adolf is overthrown early on, what difference it would make to Germany's outcome. So we're working with a light alt history. You're still saying fascist, but you've got a different leader leading the N party. And in that circumstance, you could have a different outcome overall. It looks like these focuses do affect the inner circle. However, this dev area does not go into the inner circle, it just touches on it very lightly. And the common branches. So, Army, Air Force, Navy, and your factory stuff. And it just seem to be two big decisions at the very top here. Achieve your gold standard, I'll take that as that. And the 2 4-year plans. I'm presuming that's what it says. It's not very high resolution, so I can't actually see exactly what it says. And here are all the generals. Is any of them different? Let's have a look. No, they're all pretty standard. From a little read, it does turn out that there are less generals to begin with, but you'll gain access to more generals as the game progresses. I do notice that Rommel is not here. So Rommel at the very start of the game is a major general. I mean, he commands a single division, and then he later gets promoted to a general, and then eventually at the end of the war, a field marshal. So at the very start of the game is kind of ahistorical, because Rommel is not actually a general. Some interesting focuses here. What have we got? So we have develop the maneuver warfare, the Prussian legacy, adopt Panzer doctrine. Oh, interesting. So artillery infantry on the left, and then on the right, we've gone for the actual blitzkrieg. Interesting. Which unifies at the very bottom with Uranverein. I presume that's uranium enrichment, but in German. So the Prussian legacy gives you extra attack for 90 days on clicking a decision. Wonder if that's renewable. And it goes for Grand Battle Plan. So this is more of a German Empire-centric Germany. Ooh. Campaign instruction against France, Belgium, and Poland. And it gives artillery attack, motorized attack, mechanized attack for 90 days. The only effect inside of this home territory for France. So not only is this a bonus that's temporary, but it also is a bonus that only works inside of certain territories. So what this is going to do is it gives Germany a bonus against Poland, the Dutch, Belgium, Luxembourg, France. But then at that point, the bonus runs out. So it kind of gives the AI heads up to win those fields, those theaters, and then later on, potentially get bulldozed by America, Britain, and the Soviet Union. We also have a new battalion, the Sturmtrupp battalion. It's hard to say initially what is different. So what I usually do when I load up the game is I hover over the stats, I change the battalion, and then I hover over what has actually changed. So looking at this at a glance, I can't actually make out what actually is different. I can see that you need support equipment for the battalion, which is a little bit unusual. I can also see gives extra breakthrough per battalion of infantry, motorized or mechanized. Interesting. So it pairs with another battalion, is that what it's saying? And plus it gives extra a fort attack bonus. So I'm presuming this is going to be like an urban fighting battalion, which is unusual for Hoy, because that's the first time we've ever had that, other than mods, obviously other than mods. And, this is specifically unique to the Prussian path down the left. Oh, and this is a support company. I presume it was a battalion, but it's not. It's actually a support company, even though it's called battalion. It's trying to confuse me. I'm going to say this now, but there might be some cheesy exploits here to take advantage of this, when it may not necessarily apply. But the devs have been quite smart, because not only is it a temporary bonus, but it's also a regional bonus. So you won't be able to take advantages against the Soviet Union unless the Soviet Union is fighting in Belgium. Whenever that will be the case, I don't know. It's interesting how the Dutch isn't listed here, because the Dutch have those big penalties to like surrender limits. So the game just presumes, no, the Dutch won't be a really big problem. Don't worry about the Dutch. I'm sorry, Dutch people. And then we have adopt the new Panzer doctrine, which does the standard stuff that you're already familiar with. Mobile doctrine bonus, and unlocks your armor genius, and it also unlocks the blitzkrieg, which grants armor speed plus 5% org loss when moving, etc. Nothing that really jumps out there, actually. It seems like they're supporting the other side a little bit easier. To be fair, if you're a new player, you want to be going down the left path, because artillery infantry is easy to micromanage with logistics, but the tanks can require a bit more micro and a little bit more skill. So that might be the path you naturally choose to go down. So it looks like this Deutsches here is a bonus that can be developed the further you go down the focus tree. So we have capture ratio, planning factor, acclimatization. air superiority bonus in combat. Some of these are actually pretty good. Less fuel consumption, more initiative, more coordination. And on the right side, we have special forces capacity, more entrenchment, artillery defense. That's a weird one because artillery don't have a lot of defense to begin with. That's not really gaining you a great deal. The left one side seems to be better. This seems to be more focused towards tanks with initiative and cooperation. But this one is more of the artillery infantry with the artillery. Anyway, the Air Force. Bunch of Air Force bonuses. I'll be honest with you, it just doesn't pull me in much. Hermann Goering has been improved. He now has cheaper reduction costs for tacticals, strategics, and fighters. Oh my goodness. This is always something Germany's always needed, you know. Germany's very, very strong at the start of the war, but then really quickly falls behind, typically in most multiplayer games. So it is kind of interesting to see if Germany has a leg up by giving a bonus like this, what difference it'll make in the long run. There's never been much initiative in Hoi 4 to make tacticals or strategics. Tacticals are kind of the jack of all trades, but don't really very good at anything. And then strategic bombers are kind of like a one-trick pony. Okay, they bomb really well. They're devastating if you get enough critical mass of them. But they need to kind of like win the war for you, and they don't really do that. They're just kind of an attrition weapon. So most games you end up making fighters to get air superiority, and that tends to be enough to win, in brackets. Don't get me wrong though, strategic bombers are fun to make if you want a bit of a LARP, but once again, maybe they should pair with fighters somehow. I guess they get an escort efficiency, don't they? The Luftwaffe with the fully developed bonus, ace generation, air superiority efficient factor, agility, that's a big one, and naval mission efficiency. The Navy, that's some bonuses. Wow, bonuses. Kriegsmarine, hit chance, convoy rating, increasing hit chance. So this is something that the community hasn't really opened their spreadsheets over and talked more about hit chance. I'd like one of the spreadsheet meta guys to talk more about hit chance to actually find out more about it. I know you guys are going to type a paragraph in my comments, but I kind of want a more video that's more digestible, more bedtime material. And I'd like people to say what the base amount of hit chance is and whether these hit chance increases are actually worth it over pure damage. What's better, hit chance or damage? I don't know. I'd like to know. I love the spreadsheet boys to tell me. The Wonder Waffle. The Wonder Waffen. Modern battleship research, modern carrier, tank design. Oh, this gives me flashbacks of Hoi 2, this. Because you always go for like early battleship, and I don't know, World War II battleship, and blah, blah, blah. And then you get the modern one at the very end. So when I see this, it gets me really excited. Once again, one of the biggest issues with battleships and carriers, particularly the more advanced models, is they take a long time to build, and by the time you build it, the game's already over. So I feel like it'd be kind of cool if when you build one of these, it has some monumental impact to the game overall, maybe. Like something like, I don't know, maybe every country loses stability when you build one, so there's an actual threat. Feels a bit like a Wonder in Age of Empires 2, for instance. Something like that, you know? If someone is working on this dreadful super weapon, maybe the world should all know about it, because you could have a dreadful impact when it comes. Be honest with you, I'm not a game dev. That was just me spitballing, but it would be kind of cool if the world knew about this dreadful event that's going to be happening that could fundamentally change the war, and when it did actually get developed, it kind of made an impact on the entire world. That'd be kind of cool. The industrial path. What have we got here? So we have prioritized economic growth, the 4-year plan, autarky. This looks like the historical path on the right. But the left path has currency reforms, lowering taxes, housing development, worker rights, industrial expansion, abolish price controls. Quite a developed focus tree to say this is the alt history path. War production. This looks like a mutual branch in the center. So the autarky path gives construction speed, which is something quite useful early on. Is this modifying MIFO bills? It's not, no. But it does lock you out of free trade and export focus, which some people in multiplayer would probably not like that because people like to take advantage of those bonuses. I presume, oh, it's not giving a flat construction bonus, it's locking you into import focus, right? The Totaler Krieg. You lose total mobilization, but you gain Totaler Krieg. So it's an alternative to Total Mob. And what does it do differently? It looks pretty much the same. Help me out here, guys. I'm looking at this, and I can't actually see how it's different from a regular Total Mob. No, I have to do that 3 times now, and I can't actually see any differences. MIFO bills. Prioritize economic growth. So this one does modify MIFO bills. Replaces MIFO bills with the recovering economy. Ah, this is opening up the economy. Therefore, everyone has intelligence on you. So you're either like double downing and closing your economy and focusing primarily on military production on the low and privately, or you're basically opening up your economy to potentially grow the most, but I suppose letting the world know that you're kind of building your military up. I kind of like that. Oh, I like this idea of opening and closing. I like that. Kind of like a yin and yang. Could call it a balance of power. Ooh, what a great idea. So here's your recovering economy. It has a 75% consumer goods factor. If you paid off your MIFO bills, the reward is this: 15% construction, resource gain, production efficiency factor. Wow, this one's pretty good. I think I'll probably try and do this one, actually. It depends on how long you will recover your economy for. The economy of conquest. Consumer goods factor will increase by 2.5% each month to 100%. This is so cool. Oh, this is so cool. There needs to be more of this in Hoi 4. I've talked about in this path, this idea of like something good happening, but then potentially it very slowly wears away your economy. I guess it's very similar in games like Black Ice. Now, I've not played Black Ice in many years, but I remember there was a factor in game that whenever you're on total mobilization, you're losing war support as time goes on. So you need to somehow promote the war effort, win your wars before draining kind of like the morale of your people in your nation. And I like this idea that it eats away at you over time. You need to get your goals and win before the consumer goods factor completely disables your economy. Oh, that's so good. I like that so much. I like the idea that the German war machine is all about speed. You know, it's all about achieving goals within a short period of time, or eventually it will start to eat away at you and eventually it will catch you out. Oh, I like that so much. That's so cool. The political branch. Oh, wow. So we know this left part here is all about the new mechanic for Hoi, about who leads the party, the N-word party. Then we have similar branches all across the board. Anyway, let's deep into it. All right, so all these focuses are classed as historical focuses, and they've marked them with these little banners. Kind of hard to make out. The banners, here they are. Oh yeah, that's right. So I saw an early design of this, and they were like flames, but this is meant to indicate this is a historical path. So we've got some interesting choices here. So let's go through them. This is going to be really fun. So remilitarize the Rhineland is obviously the historical path. Then you've got Anschluss, then demand Sudan. Support the coup in Liechtenstein. Okay, I'm going to say it. We all thought it was going to be Luxembourg to be the secret national focus that's going to be in this DLC, but I think it's going to be Liechtenstein. Yeah. Now I'm saying it out loud, I'm kind of disappointed, but I think Liechtenstein might be the hidden small mini focus tree that's going to be in this expansion. Because remember, the last expansion, the last major one, was Arms Against Tyranny, and the hidden focus tree was the Icelandic one. And I'm going to feel it now after seeing this. It's going to be Liechtenstein. Is this good or bad, guys? Let me know. Anyway, demand Slovenia. Then we've got the fate of Yugoslavia, then war with Greece. So these are ahistorical paths, but it's nice that they actually have texture to them now. Alternative, we have Danzig for Slovakia. That's basically normal game stuff. The Supreme Leader. That's actually interesting. The German Army Inevitable. I really like these icons. Who's designing these icons? They've got a little bit of flair to them that I just don't think were in the normal Hoi. Like, these ones seem kind of blurry and low res, these old ones here. But these ones just really pop out to me. Maybe it's the colors. Subjugate the Romanian economy. I think that's the old focus where you can unify the war economies. So alternatives around the map, you know, you've got to influence the Benelux. And instead of invading Denmark, Norway, you've got to utilize the Nordics. So it's basically either influence their politics or invade them. I feel like we're already familiar with that anyway. I was expecting some surprises there, but there weren't any. You can turn the historical frames on and off if you want them. Oh, I'd always have them on. The Far Eastern path allows you to reclaim old colonies, align more closely with either China or Japan, and decide how you want to invade. Invade? Ooh, Freudian slip. Handle the Soviets or USA. Let's have a look. So ally with Czech, Proud Eagle of the East, and Resurrect the Dragon. Ooh, some of these are quite spicy. Sentinel of the Pacific. Reclaim former African colonies. Oh, this stuff is spicy. Alliance with the USSR, we have the Unholy Alliance again. It doesn't look much different. No, this reads pretty much the same as it did before. So either declare war on USSR or alliance with the USSR. You can puppet Turkey. Okay, I'm a bit disappointed with this, alright, because I expected a little bit more flavor with this. And all it is an alliance. The way I would have done this is have the Unholy Alliance be this partial peace. You know, a bit like the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact, being this thing that two enemies agree on something, but it's only a temporary measure. Eventually, like, the Unholy Alliance will eventually break based on certain factors, maybe some internal system like a balance of power, and eventually, over time, if you don't pay into it without a political power or civilian factories, eventually it will break, and then those two nations will eventually go to war. So you can do this if you want to, but the alliance is not permanent. Eventually, if you don't tailor to it and give it love, eventually it will shatter into two. Does that seem like a good idea? Would you like to conquer all of Europe by force, or would you rather use diplomacy to get your way? Oh, peaceful Hitler is a possibility. Wow. So you can diplomatically make a World War II, I guess? So there's an important decision here to decide what path to take your army. So you can focus on army experience, I guess maybe a reform, or focus more on the navy and combined arms. Oh, that's interesting. This is the historical path, which obviously is the path of Blitzkrieg, combining air, navy, and land to try and, I don't know, come to a unified force, where this one seems to focus more on experience and developing your army. Interesting. So this option's got bribe senior officers, and it gains this trait, which allows you to promote them to field marshal. Okay. So this is a method to remain control of the generals. So this is going to be the historical path, isn't it, underneath here? But the downside is you're going to get less XP because they're all going to become politically connected. Which is not the worst trait in the world, but it's not the best either. Oh no, extend the SS recruitment. We have a picture of a soldier there. Pew pew. Oh, apparently, so the SS are classed as militia. Ah, okay. It doesn't actually explicitly say that, but SS recruitment, it creates militia. And specifically it says militia 3D, so I presume it's militia. See, people, when they think of the SS troops and divisions, they think of like more highly trained troops, don't they? They don't necessarily think of militia, which are less trained. Anyway, we have a bunch of advisors. Wow. The Reich Minister of Church Affairs. It's an important role that has to be done. The head of the missile department. Adaptive engineer. There's lots of special weapons here. Meanwhile, the high command looks actually identical. Yes, it is. Identical. We have Mayos. What have we got? Standardized production, heavy tank, medium tank. Assault guns manufacturer. It's like the actual barrel itself is on fire. Is that meant to be at the end of the barrel, not on the top of it? And fast tanks. We've got refurbished repairs manufacturer and task force shipbuilders, submarines. Nice. And planes. Oh my god, so many plane Mayos. And the only one that really sticks out there is that bottom one. Well, what do we have here? The early helicopter designer. Oh my. And these are the regular arms. We've got the assault guns manufacturer. So it looks like SPGs and artillery are going to be combined into a single Mayo, so you can take advantage of both. It's interesting. Armored car designer. I really hope some of the bonuses in the armored car designer are going to be outstanding, because armored cars are underutilized and seriously need a buff. So I really hope that some of the bonuses in here are actually going to make it really worthwhile. Because I don't mind if you start with armored cars and they're kind of crap. That's okay. But if you develop a Mayo and make them extraordinarily OP, it feels rewarding, like an element of progression, like in an RPG. You know what I mean? It's like, I understand they're not very good, but then eventually they will become good if I invest into them. Invest for the future. What we got here? So mining companies, new railway, construction company, energy supply company. Ooh. And also a word, the Reich something, Reich Works. We have the Lichen tractor, which nothing particularly stands out here. Standard stuff. Infantry models. The Far East and Africa now have related models. Nice. The German systems are going to be re-looked at. For instance, MIFO bills are going to be examined more in depth. The inner circle obviously needs to be looked into. And also challenging the Monroe Doctrine and the Reichskommissariats. And also alt history Germany as well. So what's your predictions, guys? We're going to have a Holy Roman Empire Germany. We're going to have like some kind of democratic EU Germany. Maybe we can bring back like a Charlemagne's Carling Germany. If we can have a bear for Poland, okay, we can go back as the early Middle Ages and have something as awesome as Carling's Germany, can't we? Someone in the comments are going to get mad. They're going to be like, that's technically France, Dave. No, they were the first Germans. If you want access to this DLC with a whopping 20% discount off the expansion pass, click the link in the description. It will, if you buy it through the website, it will add it to your Steam account. Not like you're buying it on a separate platform, and you get to take advantage of a massive discount. So give it a click, give it a try. If you are thinking about getting this expansion, which is this is the big one, to be honest with you, and potentially save a lot of money on the 3 more expansions that come after it, my advice is to buy that. That's what I'd recommend. At the end of the day, my take is you are going to be buying this expansion because this is the big one. So why not get a big discount by getting it early? Click the link in the description. Apart from that, guys, if you want more Dev Diary content, don't forget to subscribe. Bye-bye.